Hey, what's going on, guys? I hope you all are doing well today. Elliot here, and welcome back to The Fragrance Well. I'm doing okay. Allergies are trying to act up, which kind of leads me to what this video is about. We're going to talk about spring fragrances. Spring is just around the corner. It's slowly warming up here in Central Florida to, kind of normal Florida temps. It's actually been rather cool this cool season, which I'm not complaining about. I kind of like that. But I'm pretty much ready for it to warm up now. So we're going to talk spring fragrances. This is not a ranked list. It's just some of the top ones I have in my fragrance cabinet, and I am particularly focusing on fragrances that remind me of spring by their characteristics. I'm talking about floral aspects, fresh aspects, maybe a little bit green, a little bit earthy, maybe a combination of those three. That's not the only thing I think makes a great spring fragrance, but that is what I'm going to focus on primarily in this list. So all of these fragrances at least have one of those aspects to it. So let's get into it. But before we do, as always, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and do like the content, and please hit that bell icon and enable notifications so you can be notified when I upload new videos. Let's get into it. All right, first up, coming from the house of Brioni, this is Brioni Eau de Parfum. Brioni Eau de Parfum. I really do like this scent. It is a violet heavy scent primarily. You've also got some ozonic notes, so it just kind of has this airy freshness to it. There's a little bit of apple in here. I kind of experience it like apple and apple wood. If you've ever smelled apple wood, it has a very distinct smell to it, so this one kind of reminds me of that. You also got a lot of ambroxan in this, so you're getting kind of an ambery musk combination, so to speak. That's pretty much the makeup of this fragrance, but the fresh makeup of this scent and that heavy dose of violet definitely puts me in a springtime mindset when I wear this fragrance. Now, you can pretty much wear this at any time, but it's definitely good for spring with that floral aspect and that fresh ozonic aspect that this fragrance has. So, once again, from the house of Brioni, this is Brioni Eau de Parfum. Next one, coming from the house of DS and Durga, this is Coriander. DS and Durga, Coriander. So this is a new pickup for me. I actually have not given this a full wear yet, but I did test it the other day on my skin, so I was able to experience what it's about. But I remember when I sampled this, I was like, gotta pick that one up. So this one overall kind of smells like a fresh spice garden with watery aspects, so maybe there's like a lake nearby or something like that, and then you're surrounded by pine trees. Now, there's not a pine needle or pine tree note in this fragrance, but there is a juniper needle or something like that. Is that what it's called? Yeah, juniper needle note in here, and you get that kind of juniper aspects, but more green than you typically would get from just juniper berry. I said pine needle just because that's the closest thing I can relate to it from my own experiences, but obviously there's coriander in this. It's a lot of fresh spices. There's rosemary, things like that. Overall fragrance very fresh and very green and very fresh, spicy, so to speak. And then once it dries down, it gets very musky. Perfect spring scent. So once again, from the house of DS and Durga, this is Coriander. All right, next one's coming from the house of Amouage, and this is Beach Hut Man. Amouage Beach Hut Man. So in the nutshell, this fragrance is spicy mint mixing with bitter greens and woods. That's kind of the best way to characterize it. It is a little, I don't know, could it be a little polarizing? I think it can be. This one could be a little strong. I think sometimes the name can throw some people off, but that's neither here nor there. This is a green and fresh fragrance at its heart, which makes it a perfect springtime choice in my opinion. I certainly look forward to wearing it this spring season. I actually have not worn this fragrance in warm weather yet because I've only had it during the cooler months. So I'm really looking forward to see how this comes across, see what characteristics change as I wear it when it's a little bit warmer out. So once again, from the house of Amouage, this is Beach Hut Man. Okay, so I got another one from the house of Amouage. I try not to do brand repeats if I can, but this one's just too good to pass up. This is Lyric Man. Amouage Lyric Man. So this one here is a rose fragrance. It's a very jammy rose. So it is quite strong in terms of how jammy that rose comes across, but it's mixing primarily with green accords. There's this beautiful lime that's at the top of the fragrance, and once again you got that jammy rose mixing with it, but at the heart of it you got like pine notes, so it's kind of green, kind of spicy. You've got some bitter green facets to this, and you got a little bit of sweetness mixing with it to just, you know, kind of balance it out to where it doesn't go too far in one direction. Lovely scent, great for the springtime. Really does wonders in warm weather. I find this to be a humidity cutting fragrance, so if that's something you're dealing with in spring, that's maybe something to check out. But I love this scent, perfect for spring. Love wearing it really at any time. I wear this even when it's cold, but awesome spring scent in my opinion. So once again, from the House of Amouage, this is Lyric Man. All right, next up, coming from the House of Nishane, we have got Sultan Vetiver. Nishane Sultan Vetiver. So this is obviously a vetiver scent, as the name would imply. It gives you a lot of different facets of vetiver. There's a lot of different types of vetiver listed. I ultimately need to do research on these different types of vetiver so I can at least have an understanding of what the different ones give you, because I have not done that yet. I don't know why. But anyway, a lot of different types of vetiver. This one is very, very floral. It has this kind of dry, powdery, maybe not even powdery, maybe more so dusty floral aspect to it. It's quite bright and a little bit boozy in the top. There's notes like bergamot, but there's also absinthe, so giving this very bright and sharp, fresh, boozy facet to it. Once the fragrance dries down, I find it to get a little bit dry and smoky. I don't really experience this as a damp vetiver fragrance. This is also definitely not going to be one that's for everybody. You certainly have to be an admirer of vetiver to really get into this scent, because it is vetiver forward. It is not pulling any punches with that vetiver, and also that dry floral aspect to it can kind of give it a little bit of a mature, somewhat old school vibe. So you definitely want to check this one out by sampling first if you're unable to get your nose on it in any other way. But this fragrance definitely screams springtime to me. So once again, from the House of Nishane, this is Sultan Vetiver. Moving on, next one's coming from the House of Lalique. This is Encre Noire Sport. Lalique Encre Noire Sport. So this is another vetiver fragrance. For those of you who are familiar with the Encre Noire line, that should not be a surprise. This one is going to be what I would call the brightest, probably easiest one to wear from the Encre Noire line. Omitting indigo, I haven't gotten my nose on that one yet, so I can't say that with any definitiveness. But this one here, compared to Sultan Vetiver, definitely easier to wear. It's not quite as vetiver forward. There is vetiver in this though. It does have a grassy feel to it. I find the original Encre Noire to almost be like a damp earth kind of vetiver fragrance. I think they've turned that down a bit in this one, added quite a bit of citrus to give it a juiciness and a brightness, has a watery feel to it, but you still get that grassy vetiver that the Encre Noire line is known for. Now this one here, honestly, I think you can kind of wear this at any time. It's kind of the easy go-to Encre Noire fragrance, but perfect for the springtime, certainly. It does have enough of a heaviness to where it can still kind of work in that spring weather, so to speak. Once again, from the House of Encre Noire, from the House of Lalique, this is Encre Noire Sport. All right, next one's coming from the House of Wilhelm Parfumerie. We've got London Funk. Wilhelm Parfumerie, London Funk. Now with this one, what you're gonna get is pure green woodiness. Not much else. There's no real floral notes in this. You could say there's like a spicy aromatic touch to it, but it's pretty much kind of adding to the green woodiness, kind of sharp green woodiness that this has. Very dry, green, and woody fragrance, and that's all it is. Not much by way of sweetness to balance it out. I mean, there's a touch of it in there, but it's almost like it's emulating tree sap. All that being said, it's like walking through a forest, so to speak, and that's what kind of makes it a great springtime fragrance, because maybe that's something people do once everything is coming back to life and all the green and flowers are coming back. You know, you might go outside and experience that. But this one, you're just in the forest. There's no flowers around. Green and woody, that's the name of the game with this fragrance. So once again, from the House of Wilhelm Parfumerie, this is London Funk. Next up, coming from the House of Hermes, this is H24 Eau de Parfum. Hermes H24 Eau de Parfum. So this fragrance by nature is green and fresh. That's kind of the simplest classification for it. Has this metallic, almost musky, sweet tinge to it, mixing with those green notes that this has, and also slight florals, yellow florals that is, mostly by way of narcissus. It is a very particular scent. It is a very interesting scent. I would say get your nose on it first. It may not be your cup of tea, but one thing about this for sure is this one sings springtime in my opinion. That green freshness that this has mixing with that metallic nature just puts me in a mind frame of springtime, and there's just no denying that. So once again, from the House of Hermes, this is H24 Eau de Parfum. Okay, next one's coming from the House of Novartis Parfums. This is Eau Debonaire. Novartis Parfums Eau Debonaire. I would categorize this fragrance as floral, spicy, somewhat aromatic, and musky. There is a combination of tuberose, jasmine, sambac, and orange blossom in this. So it's very heavy on the florals. That tuberose does stand out, but it doesn't overwhelm the scent. It's just enough to where I don't mind it, because tuberose, if it's too strong, I just don't go for it. I do find it to just be overly feminine. This fragrance is definitely very, very unisex. So, you know, you got to kind of keep that in mind. If you can't stand tuberose at any level whatsoever, I would say you probably want to avoid this one because you're going to smell that. But it is quite fresh in the opening. That combination of florals in there and kind of musky, woody on the dry down, so to speak. The freshness and the floral nature of it just makes you think springtime. You can kind of wear it at any time, but I would say it shines in the spring, so that's why I decided to put this on this list. Once again, from Novartis Parfums, this is Eau Debonaire. Alright, and the final fragrance for this video, we got one from the House of Arabian Oud, and this is Majestic. Arabian Oud Majestic. So this fragrance I would categorize as kind of balsamic, but mostly woody and floral and sweet and quite oriental as well. To me, this line pretty much features a note of Divana, which is kind of a fruity, balsamic, floral note. There's also some balsa wood in this, so it's quite woody. There is a little bit of oud in here, but it's primarily kind of in the background, and the woodiness of this is overwhelmingly light and kind of fresh almost. So that's why I think it's great for the springtime, but it does kind of have enough heaviness to where in really high heat it might be too much, which is why I think it's a good springtime fragrance. The freshness and the sweetness that this has makes this a very interesting and slightly different springtime option, definitely different from everything else I have featured. So once again, from the House of Arabian Oud, this is Majestic. Okay guys, that's gonna do it for this video. Let me know down in the comments below what are some of your favorite springtime fragrances that you are looking forward to wearing, or maybe you're already wearing right now. Looking forward to seeing what you guys have to say. Thanks again for watching all the way into the end. Remember to be well and smell well, and I will see you in the next episode of The Fragrance Well. Have a good one.